First at 4:30, after a bumpy merger with Alaska Airlines, Hawaiian Airlines is announcing a $600 million plan to modernize its infrastructure and improve the guest experience. Raquel Kahlo has more on what travelers can expect.
The airline says this investment will touch nearly every part of a traveler's journey, from airport lounges and gate areas to aircraft interiors and digital tools, with projects rolling out statewide through 2029. The airline calls its plan Kahu'ewai, which refers to fresh water emerging from its source.
It reflects the idea of resources flowing outward to nurture and sustain communities over time.
This flow of change includes a new 10,000 square foot premium lounge at the entrance to Terminal 1's Mauka Concourse.
We'll operate this new lounge in addition to the Plumeria Lounge and our 6 premier clubs across the state and Alaska Airlines lounges on the continent. We're well into design and expect to open the space by the end of next year.
CEO Diana Burkett-Rakow says neighbor islands will notice changes too over the next 5 years.
We'll do a full renovation of lobbies and gate areas across every island and airport we serve in Hawaii, while also improving employee spaces. These projects will improve the experience with well-lit open spaces, as well as better seating and amenities like power charging in the seats.
But we're going to help them make sure that we influence what this terminal is going to look like. The whole intent is to ensure that we move things forward as quickly as possible, help them through their designs and permitting, and make sure they tie to the plans that we already have.
Alaska Airlines officially acquired Hawaiian over a year ago, but they're still operating with a different ticketing system until April. The spring will also bring a new app and website,
designed to give guests significantly more flexibility and control when planning their travel, including easier trip management, same-day changes, award redemption with global partners, and seat upgrades.
Starting in 2028, passengers will start seeing all new interiors on aircrafts, including new first-class suites and a premium economy cabin. The changes also mean new jobs. It's already added about 650 positions over the last year, and both it and the state say more jobs could be added to support our airports. Raquel Kahlo for Hawaii News Now.